Hello internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind creation Miss Couture. So today in this little vlog, I just wanted to discuss how I came up with my brand new collection that is coming up on September 21st, which is the Once Upon a Time collection, which is inspired by fairy tales lore, and I just want to discuss how I came up with this collection, which is also a collaboration with my friend Hallie from Twin Veiled Artificer. So it all started about, I would say, a year and a half ago, when I was very inspired by mushrooms. And actually my goal was to have a collection of colorways inspired by mushrooms. So it was going to be the fungi collection, and it was going to be all forest floor stuff, all like dark moody colorways that I was going to do. So I reached out to Hallie and I asked them if she would be interested in doing a collaboration of stitch markers or whichever would be something that she wouldn't be inspired to do. And so she said yes, which was very exciting for me because I haven't done a whole lot of collaboration, and I was very happy that it was with Hallie because I've been following their Instagram and their story and journey since pretty much the day she launched Twin Veiled Artificer. So I was very happy about that. So that's where I just want to apologize. I did some dyeing and I know it looks like I have a bruised finger, but it's actually, I have a hole in my glove. So it's not a bruise, it's just, I'm sorry, it's just my glove as a whole. Okay, so let's go back to the collection. So initially it was going to be nature inspired with very like beautiful moody colors. But then I decided to purchase tiaras and crowns for my toddler and myself because I'm that kind of person. And the inspiration overcome me, and I was like, Hallie, how unhappy would you be if I changed the theme of the collection that you accepted to collaborate with me? And luckily she said that it was going, that's totally fine, and that like she can find something to do with that. So we changed trajectory and it was going to be a fairy tale inspired. And Hallie told me, oh, it could be very interesting if you were weaving in a story through the colors. And I said, yes, this is perfect, because that could be so interesting, and the name of the colorways will be like creating this this line between the colors to create this beautiful story inspired by fairy tales, fairy lores. And that's how I started to weave colors, and I started to imagine colors coming with this. So when I think of fairy tales, also think about how you're not supposed to eat the fairy food because you will always be stuck with the fairies afterwards. But I also read a bunch of different stories where it says that it's not that you will be stuck with them, is that if you decide to leave, you will never be able to eat human food anymore because everything will be tasting like ashes. So this is how I came up with those gray colorways that I think are very lovely, very subtle, but still very vibrant in a way. So yeah, so this is how I created that specific colorways. And usually the way I develop colors, I list names of colors that I would like to create. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so basically, usually what I do is I list names of colors. So for example, usually for the Mario collection, I know I was going to do a Princess Peach and stuff like that. And from there, I create a palette of colors that I think would fit within that that name. But for the Once Upon a Time collection, I did it slightly differently, because I created the colors and then I chose a name for those colors, which is not my usual way of doing things. So for example, don't taste the fairy food. I kind of had an idea of the name, but I didn't have the actual name. So I had this idea of like ambrosia and those things, like the fairy food that you could find, because I knew that there would be a tea party, because I had a rough idea of how the story was going to unfold. So during the tea party, the little creature would be eating food. So I created this color that I'm really happy with how it turned out and how it knitted up. I think this is so pretty. I'm very happy about it. So I developed all of my colors, and all like variegated colors had a solid counterpart. So the way that I did the solid, well, or tonal counterpart for the variegated is that I took one of my dye from my recipe, and I developed a more solid color with this one. And this one was going to be more saturated and a little bit more darker in a sense, because I knew that I wanted to release it as a fall collection. So I wanted everything to be fall themed. I'm sorry. So this is how I came up with the colors. So after I've developed my colors, I also had like specific objective in mind. So for example, for the tea party color, I had a very specific way that I wanted to dye that color. So it would create this fine bone china pattern in the knit or the crochet piece that you were going to create. So I really had this specific final object result in mind when I was developing that color, which is very exciting because I was able to achieve exactly the type of pattern that it creates. And I was very happy about that. Like, very, very happy. Yeah. And then, so when I finalized my colorway, I was also trying to find a perfect match for a sample to be knitted up with those colors, because you need the like pattern and hand-dyed yarns really need to go well together so that if there's like lace in the pattern, it doesn't get lost with the hand-dyed yarn, and you also want the hand-dyed yarn to be able to shine. So that's why I selected the specific patterns that I've chosen. I think I did a pretty good job for those ones because everything works really well together, and it was very important that I try to have patterns that are size inclusive. Of course, I'm a human, so I might make a mistake at some point that like maybe one pattern is size inclusive, but the designer is not pattern like size inclusive themselves. So I'm always willing to learn from that. So if I do a mistake at some point, like you're always welcome to reach out to me and tell me, so that way I can put that person on the list of do not knit again. So if you have questions, let me know. Yes. Also, and sometimes when you're developing colorways, things change. And sometimes inspiration strike at the most random time. So for example, one of the colorway is called Ruby's Coat, and it's very random, but it was because I saw one of the person that I follow on Instagram post a super pretty photo of her cat, and I said, I want to do a color inspired by that cat. So that's how Ruby's Coat was born. because I was inspired by someone's cat. So thank you so much, Claire, for letting me do a color inspired by your cat and letting me call it Ruby's coat. I really appreciate that. So thank you for following me. And my name is Catherine. I'm the person behind Creation Miss Couture, and I hope that you will follow along the way and subscribe if it's something you're interested in. So thanks. Bye.